I'm Mike Ahern, and I'm about to go one-on-one with Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay.
After 4 decades of reporting the stories that shaped Indiana's history, now he's bringing you face-to-face with today's newsmakers. This is Mike Ahern, one-on-one.
He was 12 years old when his father purchased the Baltimore Colts, and at age 37, he became the youngest owner of a National Football League team. But he is not your conventional NFL owner. He liberally quotes rock and roll lyrics, he plays the guitar, he is an avid tweeter, and he collects things, from writings by Jack Kerouac to Thomas Jefferson. He is Jim Irsay, the owner of the Indianapolis Colts, and thank you for welcoming us to your home.
Oh, it's good to be here, Mike.
Your professional home. This is your office, surrounded by all the terrific and remarkable things you've collected over the years.
Yeah, it's been fun to put the office together that way, to have some of the collectibles and people see them when they come in, and you can do something like this interview here, and then sometimes they do go on the road, particularly the scroll and the Super Bowl trophy.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Of all the things you've collected here, and it's quite an eclectic blend of memorabilia, this has got to be the thing you're proudest of.
No doubt. I think on that rain-drenched night, being on the podium, having Don Shula come up and getting that trophy handed to the franchise in the state of Indiana and Indianapolis, and everything. It was really many decades of a father and son and a family pulling to get that, and it was really, really special. And it was also really, really cold in the parade, waving that thing around and hoping it didn't turn into an icicle. But what a great memory.
What a reception the city gave your team that night. It was just tremendous.
It was incredible. The parade, I'll never forget that too. Just Tony Dungy up there and just going around and having those floats going through the city, and it was so cold, but we had just thousands and thousands of people in the streets, and what a memory that was.
Now, of course, that raises a question. Indianapolis is host of the next Super Bowl. Will there be one? Will there be an NFL season, do you think?
I really do believe so, Mike. I think it's something where we host the Super Bowl. We're really, really excited about that, and I believe we're going to find a way to compromise, sit down at the negotiations table, and get a deal done. I think there's a lot of concern about that. It's still May, so there's time, but we need to get going, because I'd really like to see something get done 4th of July range or soon after, so we can really get to camp and have a full season. So I believe there will be, and it's going to be a really special time for Indiana and Indianapolis having the Super Bowl here.
You recently famously tweeted that you and Jeff Saturday could probably get together, the Colts center and the players rep, over some cocktail napkins and write out a contract. I know the point you're making, obviously, is it's as far as you're concerned, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, I think that, Mike, going through so many different negotiations in my life and being around negotiations for many decades, it gets tough because it gets personal. The people right at the table, they get weary. It's a difficult process, and I think the key thing is it gets confusing to fans because there's so much legal mumbo jumbo. But the lockout, I think, has been only something that allows you to negotiate a deal without getting sued. Because I think the problem is that if you don't have a lockout, they say, you know, you're forced to play. If you put in any rules at all, you'll be sued for antitrust. It's just an untenable situation, and what you really just need is a theater for negotiation to get something done. And I believe it can get done. When I talk about the simplicity of Jeff Saturday and I, we've had many talks last season as this thing was coming up in the off season, and Jeff's a guy who's really clued in and knows a lot about the key points to get something done, and quite frankly, here's the key, Mike. I mean, both sides should be terribly unhappy when you sign a deal. That's a good deal. Both sides, they compromise, they don't like it, neither side likes it, but you sign the deal, shake hands, and you realize, well, it's a good deal for both sides, and I really believe we can get there.
Mm-hmm. And so you're a plain-spoken man, and you thought seriously about this, and as you say, you've been through a lot of these sessions. In plain terms for the average fan, what's at stake here? You hear both sides. Some of the fans say it's billionaires against millionaires, so why should they care, except, you know, when they go to the game, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be perceived in a situation where, you know, there's $9 billion of revenue. Why can't you just work it out? And I believe it can be worked out, but it really comes down to compromise, and I think in a very simplistic way, it's simply saying, hey, you know, what works for both sides, what's a fair deal, because any deal that you do has to be that way, because if not, next time around, there's bad feelings, everyone wants to change the deal and that sort of thing. So I think it's really compromise. I think it's really getting down and saying we both have to keep re-examining our positions and get something done.
We'll be back in a minute because I want to talk about your early life with the Baltimore Colts and some of the friendships you formed back then. It's back with Jim Irsay on One on One after this.